Hello book lovers and welcome to another episode of the Monday Book Club. It's terrible weather outside and what better excuse could you have to snuggle up with a good book? This week we're taking a look at Star Wars Bloodlines from the new Disney canon for Star Wars, and it's a very good one, so let's get straight to it.
A political Star Wars book and there are no Jedi in it? Starring Princess Leia and none of the rest of the main cast? Now I know what you're thinking, but stick with me here because this book is well worth your time. In a novel that leads into The Force Awakens, we are presented with a post-Empire galaxy that feels a lot like the mess of Weimar Germany, that period between World War I and World War II. The Republic's Senate is a useless morass of squabbling factions that literally gets nothing done day after day. Princess Leia is sick and tired of the whole process, and after Mon Mothma resigned as Chancellor, the whole New Republic government has stagnated. Leia wants to resign and go live out the rest of her life with her husband Han Solo, who is having a far more exciting time of things than she is. However, before she can do that, there's one last problem to be solved. The Twi'lek planet of Ryloth, a planet that is not part of the Republic, has asked for assistance dealing with the threat posed by Rin D and his criminal gang. Leia offers to investigate the problem, but the opposing faction in the Senate don't believe that she's independent enough to present an unbiased assessment of the situation, so they demand one of their own to accompany her. In steps Ransom Castafoe, a cocky young senator with a fetish for imperial accoutrements. He collects helmets from the Imperial Age, which disgusts Leia and brings back too many painful memories of the war. They don't hit it off. But as the book moves on, we find that Castafoe isn't just an Imperial wannabe or a militaristic fetishist like many of his counterparts. He's a very well-rounded character who recognizes the failings of the Empire and absolutely hates, right to his core, its central players, Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader. Castafoe was a slave on his home world when the Empire existed, and he saw firsthand the extremes Darth Vader would go to, murdering people who couldn't keep up to his excessive workload demands. It's in passages such as this that demonstrate just how far Disney is willing to push the Star Wars universe. While the films exemplify the jolly pulp action film style that A New Hope began for the series, the books take a far more adult look at the Star Wars universe. Here we find characters who are far more fleshed out, far more real, and far better able to discuss the issues presented by the films. Leia struggles with the burden of the monster her father became, and Castafoe struggles to overcome his own past to properly represent his planet in the Senate. If there is one problem with this book, it's that the main plot often takes a back seat to character development and setting up the rest of the Star Wars series. This feels a lot like a book that had to sacrifice several things in order to prepare the groundwork for The Force Awakens in Episode 8. Rin D isn't fleshed out nearly enough to be the threat the characters seem to think he is. The secretive enemies alluded to throughout the story don't make enough of an appearance to actually become something that you can be interested in. The main villains, secretive as they may be, are so behind the scenes that you never get a true sense of their motivations. They merely end up presented as little more than mustachioed villains with little motivation behind them except being bad for being bad's sake. So when the finale comes around and we're expecting the pace to pick up for a proper send-off for the baddies, it's a disappointment. The plot wraps up too quickly and too easily. There's a nice cameo, but it feels like it comes out of left field and really should have been done better. Essentially, there's too little build-up and too easy a payoff. There's no fight, there's little real sense of danger, and any victory that there may arguably be doesn't feel earned. But that's when the big blow comes. The finale isn't the finale that we're led to expect. The whole book is building up to a massive punch to the gut. Realism takes over from the spirit of adventure, and realism isn't always fair. In the end, you're left with a sense that the whole book was playing you for a sucker, and it does it perfectly with a shock ending. Yes, this is a book that is designed to set up the new film series and parts of the ongoing book canon. Yes, this is a book that mainly focuses on politics and political squabbling rather than standard action that we've come to expect from the films. Yes, there are no Jedi and no Sith in the whole novel, and yes, there are points where the story slows to a crawl to develop more character before going on again, which is a little off-putting at the time, but bear with it. It's not Star Wars as we've come to know it, but it's still really, really good. It's a shock at the end, and I dare say it's on a par with The Empire Strikes Back in that respect. I got the same feeling when finishing this book as I did when I saw Empire for the first time. I came away thinking, did that just happen? And wanting to know more. What happens next? Can all of this be resolved? We'll just have to wait and see.
And there you are, another good book, I think you'll agree. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you did like this, and if you did, remember to click the like button, share it with your friends out there. They'll know a good book when they see it, and do subscribe for future videos because there will be more in the future. But until next time, I've been Zoe Kirk-Robinson. You've been watching the Monday Book Club on ZJKR, and I'll see you later.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Monday Book Club, where we looked at Star Wars Bloodlines, and please do join us next week where we'll be looking at the 1984 novelisation of Ghostbusters.